those of you who've submitted and completed the assignment, when you're looking at the template, let's start from the very beginning. And again, I said this in the beginning of class. I realize this is sort of thrown into the deep end for some of you. Some of you, this might be more self-explanatory. But otherwise, this is a way for us to at least start talking about notation. Okay? This class is about notation, but relating it to sound. Okay. In previous classes, what I've done in this particular class 110 is that we just start with notes and memorizing sort of letter names and treble clefs and things like that. And it took a long time for us to kind of figure out why we're doing that. Right? So this semester, I'm trying it in a way that we're starting with the sound. Right? I'm asking you to hear things, okay? And then trying to have you meet me halfway in figuring out what these symbols might mean. Okay? It might not be the right answer, it might not be the right solution, but at least you're coming in with some idea. And then we're going to keep sort of reposition what you know, so we can start from somewhere. Again, I'm doing this because maybe about 30 or 40% of you who don't really play any musical instrument per se, or have no limited experience in music notation. Maybe 20% of you are musicians and you already play an instrument, so you know what these notes are. So this is a way to sort of get everyone together. First of all, so this is Noteflight. This is an online web-based music notation software, and we use Noteflight to write notes. Okay, you can use notes. You can use pen and paper. People have been doing that for thousands of years to write notes. But we live in 2016, and it's a good place to be. And what this allows you to do is to write out notes in using any computer with a internet browser and have it play back to you and see what it sounds like. So this is the template file. This is here. There's just no ventilation in this room. So what do you see? What's on this template screen? This is just my template. I have 3 lines, and I asked you to try to transcribe what you hear. What else do you see on the screen? Just basic stuff. Okay, there's the measures and the time signature. I mean, like just a toolbar here. Like what's on the top?
A play button.
Play button. If you click the play button, it'll play what you did. Also, you can click pause, go back to the beginning, stop, just like a CD player. Once you click the play button, it's gonna keep going, and so the menu changes. Also on the top here, I have lots of things that we'll go over in the rest of this semester. So you have a menu called Score, which has these different things. Some things you can change the instruments, show in concert pitch, change settings, and there's also a sound. There's a mixer and metronome. Some of this stuff is reserved for the paid account, but with the free account, you get 10 free scores without having to pay anything. So what I'll do for assignments, I'm going to keep them within 10 scores that you can do. For other assignments, I might ask you to add something to your score, so you don't have to pay. But if you'd like to pay, it's a very useful thing for a membership. Only if it's useful to you. Okay, but even if it's not, I chose it because it's free and it's helpful. Okay, so the first thing I would do, for example, I gave you an MP3 file that sounded like this. Okay, gosh, how many sounds are there? Let's count again. This is just the first one here.
13, I believe.
13, here we go. 13, right? And some of those sounds sound pretty familiar, right? Or really similar is what I mean. So some of the bass drum sounds like which is okay, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Going back to this, so okay, so this is I'm just logged in as my my account. I got this template from the file, and what's the next thing I'm going to do to try to manipulate this?
Edit, right?
edit, right? So I can't edit this right now, so what do I have to do? Save it. Excellent. So then I have to, how do I save a copy?
Go up there.
Uh-huh.
Save. On the right.
There you go. Right. I'm going to save a copy, so now I have a copy of it. And things change, and I have a lot more options here. Now, I'll be asking you throughout the semester to submit PDF files. So once you do something here, once you change things, okay. How do you save this as a PDF file? Okay, good. Go to the cloud with the down arrow. Okay, click on export, and you're gonna click on export to PDF. Okay, and that's what's gonna create a PDF file of what you just did. Okay. Notice that when I click on one of these guys, these are called notes, and I can drag them up and down and change the sound. Okay. So right now the sample here has 4 of the bass drum sounds. Okay, and to play this back, you can hover or you can click on the little bar that's above the notes. Okay. Notice that these things are numbered 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right. Each one is called a measure. That's how we're dividing music into measures. And within each measure, there are a number of different beats. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Right. But suffice to say that all these measures are divided by vertical lines. Okay. And you have lots of symbols inside. To play, starting on each measure, just click the play button. Right. And if you wanted to start somewhere else, you don't want it to play, right from the beginning. You can also go to another measure. So by just clicking on somewhere of the sort of a blank space, and you highlight it, right? And then you can click on the bar above, get that play button, okay? And you can start from there. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I'm going to approach example 1. I'm going to show you on the screen. And then next, I'd like you to, after that, work together with a partner. I'll give you headphone splitters, and see if you can work together on one of your templates to figure out how to do example 2, right? And then we'll come back and see how we did. Make sense? Okay. So here's example 1. And how I would do this, again, I would listen, to see what happens after. So all of these sounds, right? Are they all spaced the same length of time apart, or are they different?
Same length.
Same length, right? So as opposed to so all of these notes are, and we know now a little bit about the beats per minute, which is right on the top here. It says this note, this is called a quarter note, equals 80, which means that the speed at which this quarter note plays is 80 of them per minute. Right? So a little bit quicker than 1 second. So I know that the first 4 sounds are even. Okay, and I can see that's represented here by these 4 quarter notes. The moment you don't have to know why it's called a quarter note. Just know that that's the name, right? And it's a black dot with a line. Right? So there's a correlation here between what you see, okay, namely these 4 with the same symbol, okay, that all the sounds last exactly the same, right? So if I keep going in the audio file, here's the beginning again. If I keep going in the audio file, and the second 4 notes, okay, they're all still the same space apart. Which kind of note should I continue to use to quarter note? Okay, so in order to do that, right now I have this quarter note set up or clicked, and it has a cursor, okay, right there. If I want to add more quarter notes, I'm going to go over to this. I'm going to click on it. This is what's called a rest at the moment. Right, which means that nothing's going on in that bar for a specific amount of time. Right. Starting here, once I click here, there's a cursor here flashing like a word processor. So it's almost like you're typing in something. Right? To create a note, okay, all I'm going to do is do that. Okay. Click on a note.
You press the key.
Nope, I just clicked the mouse. Right? I can show you again. By the way, to undo, you can click on the edit menu to undo, or Command Z or Control Z on Windows. Okay? So here it is again. I was here. I clicked on the last quarter note. Okay, it has a cursor right before the last quarter note, and I want to add another one. Right. So to do that, I'm clicking on the next measure. Okay. Here I'm clicking on the rest that's in the next measure. Okay. And once I hover above or sort of right next to the cursor, a little note head comes on. Okay. And in order to put in a note, I'm gonna just press note. Okay. Now, if you had pressed a note that's higher or lower, okay, it might yield a different sound. Right. Once you've pressed a note, you can actually click on it and drag it up and down. Okay, to change the sound. Right. This is very similar. Right now, it's set to all drum set sounds. Okay, but for your homework for next time, we're not using Noteflight for next time, but we are moving forward to using notes on a staff. So when you're dragging it up and down a treble clef or bass clef, right, you're going to hear it higher and lower. Okay, so it's the same concept. Okay, so again, I have 4 quarter notes. So I'm just going to put in 4 quarter notes to begin with and see if I can match the sounds later. Okay, so again, I'm clicking here. Okay, to get the cursor there, I'm going to just put on 4 quarter notes, all in the bass drum for now. Okay, and I know that there are 13 of them, as Juan said, of these sounds. Okay, and they're all spaced apart equally. So I will do the same thing for all of them. Okay, and I have, you can see the height is a little different. Okay, so and they all sound a little different at the moment, right at measure 3. Here I can play back from here. Okay, and for consistency's sake, I'm just going to make them all in the same sound, which is the bass drum. So they're all lining up horizontally. Okay, so they're all the same sound. Next, I'm going to listen to the file again and see what the sounds are. So there's a snare drum there, right? And which number sound is that if you number all of them in a row? Fifth one?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear it again. I'm starting with 1, so 1.
7.
Here's again once more. 1, 2, 3. Good. 7. Okay, and I'm gonna go back to my transcription. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I know this is gonna be a snare drum. Now I can also, instead of dragging, I can also use the cursor keys on the keyboard. Okay. So that sounds like a snare drum. Sounds pretty good. Okay. Right. I'm going to go back to the file again and listen to see if I can find any more sounds. What are the difference between sounds 5 and 6? Which one's lower?
6 is lower and 5 is higher.
Okay, let's listen again. It's very, very subtle. Okay. And I hope your training on all of this with Rihanna helps. Here it is. Okay, you can hear it, boom, boom, right? So on here, I'm gonna see if I can find that sound. So the first 2 of this measure, or sounds 5 and 6, the first one is a little lower. What's that? Right, that's a snare drum.
Go down.
Go down. Here it is again. Let's just focus on sounds 5 and 6. 1, 2, 3.
It's a high tom, low, mid tom,
Something.
snare.
I think that's. So I hear it as this.
It's
Right.
a little bit of that first round.
Okay. Let's. I mean, at the moment, I think maybe I'm wrong. So I'm gonna hear it again. This is the process to sort of listen and write down. Right. So I'm gonna play from the beginning again. It's pretty similar, right? I think I'm just gonna stick with that for right now. But I think the more important thing here is that I've got the rhythm correct. I'm gonna keep going and see if I can figure out any more sounds. Are there any sounds that are the same in the first 8 that you hear, other than the bass drum? 5 and
10.
5. First 8.
Oh, sorry. 5 and 8.
5 and 8. So we're talking about this guy and this guy.
Yeah, those.
Okay, let's hear it again. Sure. What do you? Okay, I'm gonna. Oops. Let's add one more here. Okay. Let's hear it again. There's a recording. Okay, what do you think?
That first sound was messing me up.
They're very subtle. Okay, so again, if you can't exactly hear the difference, it's okay. But I wanted to start with something that has at least the sounds that you're familiar with, which would be something like a drum set. Right. I think at the moment, let's stick with it because I think that's close enough. And then I'm gonna keep going with the last 5 sounds. Okay. So we're talking about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these 5, or rather 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay. Which one of these sounds has a snare drum in it? The fourth of the first group there, right? So, or like this guy, right? You're talking about, Mark? Okay. I'm gonna stop it. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna change that to a snare drum. Okay. Let's hear the whole thing again and see if we have any more. Okay. And here's the example I have. Oops. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, I think for me that's pretty close. I'm gonna just listen to example 2, and then I'll have you work together with someone else to see what you guys came up with and compare your notes. Okay, this is example 2. Okay, so example 2 starts right here. So you needed to add something here. And this is already written for you. And it's okay if that wasn't obvious or you have no idea why that is or how that happened. There was some confusion about it as well. That's okay. We're gonna talk more about it. But get with someone next to you. Get your headphones together for the first 10 minutes. So compare what you have for this assignment. Okay, and see if you can improve it and sort of edit it to match more. Okay. So you can just plug in. So whoever's example you're listening to, you can use the headphones for for that computer.
Like the ones I did, but I know.
It was
Oh.
Alex, do you have your file? Okay. Mark, come over.
Go to profile.
Oh,
Work with that.
What are you doing? Stop.
My Noteflight.
Stop. Oh, look, it's right there. It's right there. Do it on there too. Which one?
This thing.
You make your life so difficult.
I really do. Everyone says that.